have that ability to push on and make a name for ourselves.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting with these two as well is that I think last season especially, even with all the success that Tekz had, on the other side I think Gorilla didn't have the success that maybe he still had a very good season. Let's put it in perspective here. But it also becomes that point like that you put too much pressure on yourself as a player. Tekz towards the end of the year has admitted it. He put a lot of pressure on himself. He wasn't enjoying it as much. I think Gorilla was very similar, but expecting these incredible results that he'd had in previous FIFAs and wasn't quite finding that form and being able to recreate that magic. This year, I think both players have had a little bit of a refreshing mentality. You saw it there. A little smile on the face of Gorilla. Perspective is a massive thing here, and I think it's what allows them to play their best attacking FIFA, and that's what I'm really hoping we're going to get in this game, Dan.
Here we go. We've had a little bit of a delay, and thank you so much for those of you bearing with us to get into our next game of FIFA, and we have two of the best players around, and I really do hope this is going to be back and forth attacking football and just showing how this game can be played at its very best.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an exciting one, as you say, two historically of the most offensive players you will see in FIFA esports. Both love to score goals, both have that never say die attitude as well. And most importantly, we should say, currently 2-1 in the Swiss group at the moment, both of these players. So one win and they'll be joining us in the knockouts.
Yeah, we've already had some giants go through to the knockout stages, the likes of Resende, the likes of Maestro coming back into the scene, hashtag JRA Lion as well. All these people that have already secured themselves into the knockouts, just getting yourself there before you get to that end of day is really just going to help you push on to tomorrow. Maybe find yourself at 4-1 because you can relax once you've got those 3 victories.
Well, it's been a little bit of a scrappy start here, both players giving the ball away, but that is kind of to be expected when you are offensive players. You're trying to go forward, you're trying to create chances, but it's going to be Gorilla here who's going to be the first player to really get into that final third as Cruyff tries to find the ball back to Mbappe and will get the opportunity to collect the pieces there, but just couldn't link those said pieces together to find that opportunity in front of goal.
It's the speed of which you see these players on the ball and how quickly they want to pass the ball up the pitch and how good they are dribbling as well. Just constantly looking for that next pass, constantly looking to go forward and play very attacking football.
Well, Hullet plays the ball through to R9. He's just beaten the offside trap here. Tekz on the attack into Pele now. Pele, though, tries to find that ball. You could see the picture being drawn. Unfortunately, just couldn't connect the dots.
And then straight up the other end is Gorilla does get contested by the fullback, and this is the switch of play just to try and create a little bit of space on the left-hand side, just so we can try and get behind this back line now.
Well, it goes towards the far side here, finds the ball into Johan Cruyff. Beautiful couple of step-overs there to beat Patrick Vieira. Now the Elastico, and this is beautiful from Gorilla! And that's what we were looking forward to here. Gorilla versus Tekz. You're certainly going to be one to watch.
We've just got two players who can produce absolute magic on the virtual pitch. Just having the ability to beat that man, to generate that space. And yeah, okay, at the end of it, it's just a simple cutback. But getting into that position, we've seen throughout this tournament, throughout games online, it is difficult to break through defenses in this current meta. But Gorilla showing why he is one of the best attacking players around and almost paying homage to his olden days and what he really produced and offered to the UK FIFA scene in particular.
Another thing for Gorilla, he's such a confidence player as well, and scoring a goal, not just a goal, but a goal of that quality against a player of this stature, it's just going to see him go from strength to strength. Now, the pressure is put back onto Tekz now, and I'm sure he's thinking, hey, I've just seen that impressive goal that you scored. I need to do something just as good. And maybe it's going to be R9 here. Almost immediately tries to do that. Tekz with a couple of drag backs. The tight turns. Another drag back exits the same way that he came in. And almost a little bit of magic there from Tekz. It's kind of a bit of a battle of egos at the moment in front of goal. Who can score the most impressive, aesthetically pleasing goal?
And for all we talk about it being 2-1, and of course you get yourself to 3-1 if you find your victory. If you lose, you're at 2-2, and then suddenly the nerve starts kicking. You have to win your final game to get through knockouts. Whilst Tekz has been in that position before, and I'm sure he will deal with the pressure, for Gorilla, who, even though he's had a pretty good season so far, I think there will be more pressure on his back if he were to find himself at a 2-2. So a victory here would be absolutely massive, not just for this tournament, but for FIFA 20 in general.
Well, there's a little pocket of space here for Johan Cruyff, the goal scorer. And speaking of which, it's actually Johan Cruyff who drops back and helps out on the defensive end of things here to pick the ball up and release Cristiano Ronaldo on this right-hand side. And for Tekz, maybe not seeing as much as the ball as he would have liked in the first 28 minutes, but I think got towards that final third. The last time they did have it just gave us a little reminder of what he can do when he gets inside that 18-yard box.
TEKKZ just looking for space. He has been able to get in behind Gorilla's defense a couple of times, and you can see how much more confident these players are on the ball as well from some others that we've seen in the tournament. Happy to utilize those skill moves in the best places as possible. Dragbacks being the key, really, to beat any man, but if you can link that together with an elastico and perform it successfully with a half drag back, that's what TEKKZ likes to do most of the time. It can be so effective.
Just looking for that half a yard of space, looking to pull that player half a yard out of position to find a pass, to then execute as R9 almost got that little half yard of space that we were talking about to fire away on that right foot of Ronaldo. Does go out for a goal kick here, and interesting to see that Gorilla opting to use future stars Tomori, the Chelsea man, alongside, I should say, Virgil van Dijk in that centre-back position. He's such a phenomenal foot item.
And I love that. I love that certain players will just find their niche players that they maybe get to use at home, because even though these players will have such amazing teams at home, they won't always have every single top player that is available and offer on these esports accounts.
You saw TEKKZ there, just turning on the source for a second. The rainbow flick there, just not quite clever enough to fool Gorilla on that particular occasion, but again, it certainly has started off with more the feel of an exhibition game than a qualification game to those knockout stages.
Well, both players who are very much on the side of they don't like to play defensive football, they don't like the meta with overload ball side, so they want to be going forward, they want to be attacking one another, and it has created a pretty end-to-end game. Just the one goal at the moment, and even though both players do have attacking intent, it isn't always going to result in goals because they are both very good at defending as well. Not only are they good at knowing where to put the players, but they're very good at also ensuring that the players are switched to at the right time, they're tracking the runs, they're cutting those passing lanes very successfully.
On the stroke of half-time here, it's TEKKZ who has the attack. Frankie de Jong into Johan Cruyff. Great tackle, though, from Gorilla, not allowing Cruyff to turn away from.
The fourth official has indicated
Frankie de Jong in that position. You could see TEKKZ again just almost a step ahead of Gorilla there in where he was reading the pass and trying to cut that passing lane just a half a yard too slow to win that ball, though.
Yeah, TEKKZ is trying to press in Gorilla's half, and you saw he quickly switched to the left back there to make sure that the run wasn't going to be too simple for CR7. Really have to be careful with CR7 on that right-hand side. That lofted through ball is so dangerous because CR7's strength, he's able to beat those fullbacks so successfully. Even Mendy, one of the best players at left back, it's just so difficult when you're going up against the strength of CR7.
Yeah, it can cause problems and just create something out of nothing in certain occasions. But at half-time here, it is that one goal that separates the two players. And, I mean, we should just revisit that goal for a second because what a goal it was, Dan. You know, different ways to beat players in FIFA 20, especially when you have the kind of handicap from last year of not being able to link 4 or 5 skill moves together. You know, you have to be efficient with your use of skill moves there. And Gorilla with a couple of step overs, with the elastico timed at the right time, everything that he did to create that goal could not have been more perfect in its timing and execution.
Yeah, and it shows that Gorilla also thinks quite highly of himself as well. He's not intimidated by the fact that he's going up against TEKKZ. He knows how good TEKKZ is, but he also knows how good he is and the ability that he has behind him. He's been playing with so much confidence online. Streaming, he's been very positive about his performances as of late. He's not been beating himself up as much. And I think it's really showing how much practice he's put in leading up to this event.
So second half here of the first leg underway, and the beautiful thing about this is we've got so much more to come. We've got the second leg as well as this second half here, so there will be more chances. There will be more moments of magic attempting to be created by these two players as Johan Cruyff gets a little bit fortunate there just to steal in, having lost possession there, TEKKZ, for a moment. And now Mendy with a little dink over the top. The centre-back tries to come across to deal with it, and Virgil van Dijk, the ever-imposing presence there at centre-back, gets the interception.
Really nice stuff, though, from Gorilla. Again, just trying to hit on the counter-attack. Van Dijk is always in the right position, though. If you can control him, if you can force him out wide at the right times, he's just such a difficult body to get around. It's just the physique of him.
Well, Van Dijk hasn't quite connected with that one, and Tekkz, you can see, just a little bit disappointed with the pass. Maybe the timing of the pass was what let him down there. You saw the switch from Gorilla to the player covering the run just at the right second. And speaking of which, here comes Alisson. He has some work to do, and luckily for Tekkz, the Brazilian in goal there managed to get a piece of that and put it into the stands.
Yeah, I'm sure that Tekkz was just hoping there wasn't any sort of error from the goalkeeper. I have seen it be headed out and not go for a throw-in, and then it gets punished. And it's one of those scary situations where you're glad you've maybe put sweeper keeper on so they're out off their line a bit quickly. But of course, you can hold that Y or that triangle button, depending on the console. For Tekkz, though, hasn't offered too much going forward, hasn't really been able to kind of show his skills that he has in the final third. I feel like Gorilla has defended really well and has had a good read on Tekkz. I think both players attack very similar in that they are confident in using those skills, so it is easier to read an opponent. It is kind of a mirror match at times. But Tekkz has always been a second leg player. He's very good at reading his opponent and then exposing their weaknesses in leg number 2.
And just a quick note, you can see the coaches of the two players there. You've got Zach Moore sat behind Gorilla from Neo. And of course, you have #Harry. Very good friend now of Tekkz. The bromance has developed over the last few years for sure. I'm sure Harry would love to give him a little piece of advice to get him back into this game. But again, defensively, Gorilla seems to just be a step ahead of Tekkz at the moment.
Yep, even though neither player playing overload ball side, you've still got the problem of it being very defensive in the fact that depth can be relatively low. And it just means it's hard to get through that back four because they do tighten up, and if you use the offside trap, it suddenly presses to the midfield, and you do find a lot of bodies are in your way. And even though it might not be 11 men behind the ball, sometimes just those 4 or 5 can be incredibly difficult to get past if they're controlled in the right ways.
I just want to, just for a second, take an opportunity to just talk about this back four here of Gorilla and how comfort is a huge thing with players. With the foot irons that we have available, which is every single one, just as Johan Cruyff gets towards goal. Available on these esports accounts with the new prime icon moments that are available for all of the players. To have confidence in playing the likes of Headliner Semedo in at fullback, the 87 rated foot iron. You have Tomori, the future stars, Chelsea man, in at centre-back as well. You know, they're not the highest rated cards in the game. However, they are incredibly effective, and again, items that Gorilla is incredibly comfortable with.
Yeah, even though they may not be the best ones that you can use, and I'm sure that the other items may offer more in certain areas, you're used to the positions they run to. You're used to the way they track back. You're used to the stamina that they have so that you know where they can go, what kind of passes they can make. If you can be playing on a certain foot, what their balance is like. It's all things that it's just muscle memory at the end of the day. So it is why we see these niche picks at certain events. Yes, okay, they can change and they can develop once you get used to these new prime icon moments that have been offered as of late. But a lot of these players haven't had the chance to do so. Either you have to have the coins to be able to get those players, or you have to play draft and hope you're able to find one of those in draft. Or you come to these events, you try, you test them, you learn. They can play practice games, of course, prior to the event. But in Gorilla's case, he's more than happy with comfortable picks.
Well, it's Gorilla who's on the attack here. Last 20 minutes of our first leg. And Lionel Messi has just managed to get inside the box there, but unfortunately, a bit of a physical mismatch there between Patrick Vieira and Lionel Messi.
It's one of the reasons I struggle using Messi personally, and I do see him just physically be outmatched by a lot of people on the pitch. But it's his dribbling capabilities that is what sees him used so often at these pro events.
Yeah, personally for me, my favourite player that I've personally used in at camp, just has that body type and that close touch dribbling that can just turn you away from any lunges.
I don't know if it's Gorilla just knowing Tekkz's playstyle or whether he's got a really good read on him in this first leg in particular. But we know that Tekkz likes to play it to his cam and then try and drive that ball into the striker, hold it up and then go for a little turn on the ball, a little scoop turn to try and get round or one to it. He's not been able to get that pass to his striker whatsoever. Gorilla has been stepping up with De Jong, with Hullet, and stopping that pass wherever possible.
Well, as we know with Tekkz, it only takes one opportunity. And we could find this game at 1-1. There's that little half drag back. But again, I think Gorilla just knows Tekkz's game almost inside and out. And he, as I mentioned earlier, seems to be one step ahead of him defensively, but maybe a little switch of the play there. that hasn't been effective might present the opportunity. And Virgil van Dijk, that is two superb tackles in there from Gorilla. And now with Ronaldinho, a player that over the years has certainly provided some important moments for Gorilla. Allows him to just come away and relieve that pressure.
I think TEKKZ thrives when players back off him and they jockey and they just offer that extra little bit of space for his players, and then he can start utilizing the skill moves. Whereas Gorilla is really stepping up and instantly pressing him, instantly trying to win the ball back. Yes, okay, there is a little bit of a risk because if you miss that lunge, then TEKKZ is through. But Gorilla is more than happy to take that defensive risk, and it's really working.
5 minutes plus stoppage time left in this round 4 game. And it is going to be Gorilla and Robertson just working this clock down until that last attack. And a goal here at the end of this game really would make this second leg even more interesting than it is right now. Tomori with the brig spread across here to Semedo. That was more difficult to say than I thought it would be.
And you can see clearly Gorilla just trying to keep the ball away from TEKKZ, trying to get that final attack, but it doesn't work out. TEKKZ takes that risk of the driven ball down the left-hand side, and it will be the final attack to Gorilla once again.
Stoppage time then. At the end of the first leg, Gorilla still with the 1-goal advantage. Ronaldinho, ball roll inside one. Frankie de Jong gets across, and that will be the final whistle here between these two. And it's the man on your screen here, Gorilla, who goes into the break after the first leg with a 1-goal advantage.
Both players were just at each other's necks throughout the first 45 minutes, and then it slowed down a little bit after. And now Harry is coaching FNATIC. TEKKZ, it's all so confusing.
Everyone's helping each other out, but all that really matters here is the score. As we enter our second leg, it is Neo's Gorilla who has a 1-goal advantage over the #1 ranked Xbox player in the world right now. It's, of course, FNATIC TEKKZ. And straight off the get-go here, Kylian Mbappe getting aggressive down that left-hand side here for Gorilla. And you just get the feeling here that Gorilla's starting to feel himself. Maybe he's on the hunt for blood here.
I think Gorilla knows that 1 goal is very likely not going to be enough against TEKKZ, as he does win the free kick. Not from a particularly dangerous area, but there's always something you can do, play it short and try and dribble it into the box, or there's always the possibility of a header from CR7, which looks like we might be aiming for.
And we are seeing set pieces become more and more effective as the ball is dinked in towards Cristiano Ronaldo. He didn't win the header that time, and Tomori dispossesses Pele. Mbappe right across, is Ronaldo onside? Yes, he is. 4 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock. And the offside trap from TEKKZ doesn't work, and Gorilla makes him pay.
Yeah, it's just whipped in. And Ronaldo is able to finish that one at the back post. It's not FIFA 19, it is FIFA 20, but that is a possibility now with CR7 and his Team of the Year FUT item. His standard gold item really struggled in the meta. It just didn't seem to be good enough. You try and turn with him, he felt a little bit clunky, but ever since the Team of the Year version came out, he has really changed the game. And he's offered that little bit of something else. And it was something I was talking about in previous games. Sometimes you do need to just whip that ball in. Take that little bit of a risk. Try something a little bit different. Gorilla's done just that, and he's been rewarded for it.
So TEKKZ, not the start that he or his fan base would have wanted here at the start of this second leg. But if anyone can turn around a tie, it's the FNATIC man. And here's R9, turns away, really for the first time getting past his man, but having beaten de Jong, a combination of Tomori and Van Dijk were there to win the ball back here for Gorilla.
Well, I'll take you back to Bucharest at the start of 2019. Gorilla versus TEKKZ in the knockout stages. TEKKZ took a few goal lead. Oh, sorry, Gorilla took a few goal lead, and TEKKZ was able to come back into that one. So I'm sure that'll be in the memory of Gorilla. He just needs to be careful that he doesn't fall into that same trap.
And TEKKZ, if he can find the next goal here, those memories become a little bit fresher in the mind of Gorilla. He's been in this position before, and he let that opportunity slip. Here comes TEKKZ again. R9, drag back from R9, hits the post.
So close. Such a good move from TEKKZ, and that's what he's been trying all game, to just drive it into the edge of the box. Just one drag back to beat the man. And it was so almost there. On the left foot of R9, that's fine. He's got a 5-star weak foot. Maybe just not enough power behind it.
And the pressure now really is starting to tell on Gorilla. TEKKZ is trying to win the ball back in areas of the pitch that are very aggressive. The only issue with that, it was Alexander-Arnold who was running upfield. Now left that space in behind for Mbappe to attack.
And this is where it becomes difficult for you as a player as well. If you've just hit the post, how do you refocus?
Well, here's Mbappe attacking that space that I mentioned. Dinks it in towards Cristiano Ronaldo! And it's 3-0 on aggregate. And Gorilla and Ronaldo. There's a connection there.
Shake up the meta a bit. Take some risks. Go for some dinks. Go for some crosses. It's working. Cristiano Ronaldo is an absolute unit, an absolute powerhouse. Headers were non-existent at the start of FIFA 20. There were a few changes to make it a little bit better. And there are ways you can head the ball down. You hold LB and RB, it heads the ball down towards the ground, and you're more likely to score a goal.
Well, well, well. Has Gorilla found that form and that self-confidence that made him such a dominating force in the FIFA esports scene just a short few years ago?
But you can also see the margins of this game. TEKKZ inches away from getting a goal back, and then straight down the other end comes Gorilla and makes it 3-0.
TEKKZ still trying to put the pressure on though. Look at this, second man press coming in now. Trying to win that ball back. You have to give credit to Gorilla here, just taking the sting out of the game. Sometimes the adrenaline can get the better of you after getting that second goal. But again, his game management since that Cristiano Ronaldo header, again, he's been flawless in the game.
Gorilla looks really impressive. And I'm sure there are a lot of fans, not just of Gorilla, but of FIFA as well, that want to see him succeed, want to see him at his best. Performed well in Atlanta, top 8, only just missing out on that Masters spot. And he did go home upset. He wasn't happy. Even though top 8, a great amount of Global Series ranking points for him and showed that he was kind of back on the map again.
From Semedo.
Gorilla just wants to be at the top. He's capable of it.
He's a winner. And I think anything short of lifting up trophies is not enough for Gorilla. Vieira with the interception there. And now maybe a chance to counter-attack. But TEKKZ, still time left in this game. But 3 goals is a big deficit to overcome.
It is. And I will say again, he has done it before against Gorilla, but it was FIFA 19, a far more open game. And one where TEKKZ really did flourish with his skill moves. Can he find a way through here? He's only found the post so far, but he is the #1 in the world on Xbox for a reason.
So free kick here. 2 TEKKZ around 30 yards out from goal. And maybe some changes tactically here for the young man. 3 goals the difference. And as we say, 1 goal is usually a big deficit to try and overturn here on FIFA 20. But you would say, with both players playing the way they are, if TEKKZ can find 1 here, you never know. There really could be scope for another incredible TEKKZ comeback.
I mean, I would usually say in FIFA 20, no pro should ever throw away a 3-0 lead with how this current meta is. But you never know against
Arnold
TEKKZ.
steps up and tests Van der Sar there. Comfortable for the goalkeeper.
TEKKZ isn't your normal FIFA player. He's not even an average FIFA pro. He is #1. He does often lead by example. He is the one who sets the tone for metas and he finds new things. But it seems like Gorilla has been the one who has shaken things up a little bit in this game.
There's a steely concentration here on the face of Gorilla as well. And you can say exactly the same about TEKKZ. Drag back there again, just not being effective enough to beat the defensive wall that has been put up here by Gorilla. R9 takes the tumble in the middle. But this is all about Cristiano Ronaldo versus Vieira. And the power of Ronaldo, again, the strength being put on show. Unfortunately, that clearance there from TEKKZ, I think that was accidental as the ball just runs out of play and gives Gorilla the ball back again.
And as a reminder, winner of this game is through to the knockout stages. They will have 3 wins in the Swiss stage. Loser will be at 2-2. So we'll still need to find a victory in their final game of the day. Otherwise, they would be out of the competition. And I feel like a 4th goal for Gorilla, and this would be game.
Alexander-Arnold has to rise highest there to win the header as Ronaldinho now drops deep. He's fresh on the pitch here for TEKKZ as well. The prime icon moments for IM recently introduced to the game, of course. You can see the ball there from Virgil van Dijk. You saw the run of Pele being triggered there manually by TEKKZ. Looks for the cutback. Defended well again. Frankie de Jong into Hullet. Maybe a chance for the Dutchman to strike. Turns away from Hullet for just a second, but little touch on the ball means that Gorilla at the break here in the second leg still has a big 3-goal advantage.
And even though Hullet, a phenomenal player, a phenomenal foot item as well, when you're dancing around on the edge of the box like that, you really want R9, realistically. Even Neymar at that point, Messi. And you can hit it with Hullet, but you're just reluctant to sometimes because it is very much a lower percentage of chance of finishing it rather than the likes of R9. But 45 minutes to go and 3 goals needed for Tekz just to take it for extra time. And I have to say, I think it's a bit of a stretch, even for the #1 Xbox player currently in the rankings.
We've said it before, if anyone can do it, it's going to be Tekz. But for Gorilla, from start to the point we are at right now in this round 4 game, he's been flawless, Dan. Absolutely flawless.
It was really the one big chance for Tekz that collided with the post that I'm sure he'll feel hard done by. But apart from that, I think Gorilla has really had his number in pretty much every shape and form defensively. Again, just stepping up at the right time with Virgil van Dijk, being aggressive, not allowing Tekz to dictate the pace of his attack.
But again, the ability to read. The scoop turn coming in as well. You saw the way that he positioned Van Dijk to make that standing tackle, not to get caught on the wrong side, not to be fooled by that skill move.
And by all means, this is not Tekz playing badly. I'm sure that he would say afterwards he's not playing to his best, and fair enough. But he could probably play this way against, I'd say, maybe 50% of the competitors at this tournament, and he would be finding goals. But it really has been Gorilla just switched on.
Space out wide here if Tekz opts to use it. There is the ball out wide to Pele, but just held onto the ball for a second too long. And Pele was caught offside and then straight up the other end now. It's Mbappe is trying to come across to deal with Cristiano Ronaldo, and the Frenchman does well.
Tekz now really starting to amp up the pressure and encourage more people forward. So there are going to be spaces for Gorilla to find a fourth on the counter-attack. Especially if that happens as well. But thankfully, Virgil van Dijk's there to save the day.
Cruyff here, heel to heel. Again, a crunching tackle, just not allowing him to settle. And I've got to say, ref, that's a little bit harsh for me. I think that's a perfectly fine tackle there on the edge of box from Gorilla.
It is a chance, though, for Tekz to go into the tactics screen and change a few things over. Perhaps in striking distance with Trent Alexander-Arnold, as we saw from his first attempt. And his teammate at the E-Club World Cup, Tom, was scoring a few bangers with him as well. Seen Tom, even when he was streaming, saying he just wanted to get Trent Alexander-Arnold, the Team of the Year version, in his side purely for the free kicks. And Tekz is going to need something special to get back into this game. Maybe it is a set piece, or maybe it's a little bit of magic just from the set piece, playing it short and then being able to elastico your way past a player.
Well, Vieira's gone. Flicked up here by Tekz. Alexander-Arnold, Ronaldinho on the edge of the box. Almost found a half yard. A little tunnel of light towards Gorilla's goal. But now with the game incredibly stretched, it's Semedo here, who's done incredibly well to not only traverse the ground, but keep possession here for Gorilla. Wins the corner, which is taken short back to Van Dijk.
I think that's something important to know, that even though Gorilla is still going forward, he is not playing stupidly with the ball. If he sees it as too big a risk, he's more than happy to go back or just play it short to someone else. He's playing it into the right areas.
You see Gorilla desperately trying to mark that run manually, but there's a ball in here to R9! 28 minutes plus stoppage time, still on the clock here. Tekz has found a way through.
And this is where that seed of doubt can get planted in your mind, and Gorilla may think back to that time in Bucharest at the early stages of 2019, of when he had the lead. It was a far more important game in the grand scheme of things in that it was a knockout stage. However, this is Gorilla getting into the knockout stages as well. Just needs to say, all right, he's got his one. Maybe could have had one earlier because of the one that collided with the post anyway. So I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, keep stepping up at the right times. And I should be fine here.
Referee again. decides that that's too physical a challenge. And again, I'm going to disagree with him. That was just a shoulder to shoulder. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but opportunity here for Gorilla to take advantage of the decision. See Tekkz trying to put pressure on the ball again. Good close dribbling though from Gorilla. Stops up here. Beautiful stuff from Cristiano Ronaldo. Drives it across the box. And he had to make that interception here, Tekkz. But Gorilla again wins the ball back, but Tekkz again now wins the ball and can start another attack.
It's the really subtle things that separate these two players from some of the field and how quickly they react to certain scenarios. Just even stepping over the ball, which Tekkz did when the ball was played out to Ronaldinho. He just steps over it to ensure he can break away.
Cristiano Ronaldo, huge chance for Tekkz! 20 minutes left on the clock, and now it's just a one-goal game.
And now this is where Gorilla will really start to sweat, and if you're any good at reading body language, I think those pictures say it all. Gorilla often brings a hand towel with him just to wipe off his hands. And I think he's going to need to focus up here. Just stay calm.
Game on. Game on, ladies and gentlemen.
When I was talking about those little subtle things allowing you to just get a slight bit of space away from the man, Tekkz does just that with CR7. And CR7 has that ability to just belt it into the back of the net. Tekkz, clinical in front of goal.
Around 5 minutes ago in this game, there was everyone basically putting Gorilla into the knockouts. This game was done, this game was dusted. But now, with 15 minutes left plus stoppage time, Tekkz has found a way back into this game. One goal, the difference between the two.
And with every attack now, Gorilla is just going to be thinking about, well, what happens if I throw this away? Panic stations, I don't want to. I had a 3-goal lead. Overload ball side was initiated, I just saw there as well.
The game is just completely opened up now. Tekkz obviously has to push players forward. Hullet had to make that tackle, and Hullet did make that tackle.
Tekkz so good on the ball with Ronaldinho every time under pressure. Doesn't matter which way he turns, he's been able to keep the ball far enough away from the oncoming attackers. Does get the throw in. 12 minutes left. Plenty of time for a couple more attacks for Tekkz.
And just look at some of the attacking players that are on the pitch here for Tekkz. I think he's got Eusebio playing in centre midfield at the moment alongside Ronaldinho.
Hullet's playing at centre-back, I think.
But for Gorilla, it's a matter of game management. And if that one chance comes, taking it. Put the game to bed.
Ronaldinho again defensively tracking back, winning the ball. And it'll be the red shirts flowing forward, but maybe this is the chance for Gorilla.
Mbappe here, Van Dijk struggling to get across. Gorilla, who's been under the cosh for the last 10 minutes or so in game. He's holding off the pressure, and maybe a goal here could put the game to bed. Frankie de Jong runs to the corner. Experience personified here from Gorilla.
Really just trying to frustrate Tekkz, forces the corner as well. The pause will be made, and Gorilla can just take that time to calm down, to relax. He can make a couple of changes as well. But Tekkz still has the opportunity. It is a corner to Gorilla though, so he will have the ball, and I imagine he'll play it short, keep that ball away from Tekkz, try and recycle the play. But one mistake, one slip up, one bad pass could lead to an equalizer from the man on your screens there. The #1 Xbox player in the world in the rankings. Looked down and out. The game looked over. As I said, most pros should never throw a 3-0 victory away in the current meta that we have in FIFA and how overpowered defending currently is. But Tekkz has found those breakthroughs. But he just needs one more, otherwise it will all be in vain.
Corner here to Gorilla. More seconds, agonizingly, off the clock here for Tekkz. But Ronaldinho just walks the ball out of play, and Gorilla's just gifted possession back here to Tekkz.
And that's the thing, sometimes trying to be too clever, trying to hold onto the ball, trying to force the throw in your favor by bringing Tekkz closer and hope that he'll play the ball out. Instead now, gives possession to Tekkz. 2 minutes remaining before added on time. Maybe, just maybe, we can see one of the best comebacks this tournament.
Van Dijk comes across though for Gorilla, and winning that ball back there will feel like the winning goal for him at this point. Or maybe, just maybe, there is a winning goal here for Gorilla. Again, experience over adrenaline here for Gorilla. He wins the ball. Oh, drives towards the corner, but Tekkz maybe gets one more shot here as the ball rolls out for a goal kick.
Does manage to keep possession from the goal kick as well. He lumped it up to Cruyff. Just needs to keep the ball,
Big
but it's
tackle.
so hard. So hard.
Big tackle from Ronaldinho, and surely this is the game here. I think Tekkz knows. He's got a smile on his face. Gorilla knows as well, and Gorilla holds on, but what a game that was between two titans of the FIFA esports scene.
I mean, they will shake hands, and I want to shake their hands as well for putting on an incredible game of FIFA. Tekkz almost getting back into it. I mean, if you consider the one that hit the post as well, we could have been looking at a 3-3. But what a fantastically played game it was by Gorilla. Okay, he looked a little shaky toward the end, but as soon as it was just that one goal difference, yes, he slowed things down. Yes, he went towards the corner, but he knew what he had to do. It's job done. He's into the round of 16, through to the knockout stages, and maybe Gorilla is back.
I think the point that I want to make here is how Gorilla did the damage. He was the one who put all of the pressure onto Tekkz. He was 3-0 up around the 60th